my operating system, so anything I do, that's a lot of things once I start. Print my disk. So everything I do, like what she said, because it's gonna. So once I started.
Okay. So you can use your Windows laptop like what Gabino's doing. But for this lab, because we're brute forcing password, I recommend that you use a virtual machine. It's important that we test it because you need to really turn off all the security for this lab to work. Okay. The reason why I'm showing you how to make a virtual machine is because in the future, if you need to do testing like this on Windows, you can. All right. So the lab, actually, I edited some things because it changes throughout. So when you download the lab, you will start with making a Windows virtual machine. So you can open up VirtualBox on your PC by just typing in VirtualBox like this, and then open up the app. Okay, I already have one virtual machine running, but I'll show you. You can click new. And then here is where you give it a name. So I'd like for you to say CIS27, Windows 10, VM, and then put your initial. Okay, that's good. Then we're going to click the drop-down menu and we're going to click other. Okay, so again, we give it a name. And then we're going to click down the drop-down menu and click other. And this pops up, just hit cancel. And I like for you to put it on your desktop so that way you can copy it later or clone it to your drive later. It is easier than putting it directly on the drive. Originally, I had the student put it on the drive, but one drive to the next, drivers sometimes have issues. So make a new folder. And then you can call it Windows 10, VM. I'm going to put 2023 here, but you know, and your initial, if you like, whatever folder that you want to name. Double click the folder and then select, or click that folder and then click select. And it should detect your Windows 10 64-bit here. If it doesn't, you can select it. Okay. Very similar to what we've done in Linux. Right now, we're just naming our Windows virtual machine and make a folder to store it. That's where your VBox and your VDI is going to live. And also, if you want to make VDK, you can. So we're going to go next. And then I will leave this at default. 2000 is okay. You can up it to 4000 if you wish. Give it a little juice. That's going to be faster. Give it next. And then 50 gigs is okay. Normally, if you want to install a lot of application, you can make it, 100 gigs. Then we can click create. We are going to make a storage for our image. So it's going to select that, go next. Dynamically allocated, go next. And then this is where you can check, make sure that it's on your desktop inside the folder that you created. We can do 50 gigs because we only have 2 apps today, right? But if you want to change, this is the time to change. You can. So for my forensic class, normally we need a little juice here. So normally we go with 150 or 100. This is not enough, but for today we can just use 50. And we can click create. Okay. You cannot have the same name for multiple virtual machine. It does not like that. So once you already have everything set up and configured for the first part, right? So what I did was I'm here, right? 6 steps. And then what you're going to do is it's going to come back to this part. So I have one running now. This is the new one I'm creating. So you make sure that you have that new one, click start. Now we don't have an image. Remember when we did Ubuntu, we have to search for the image that we download. Well, I put the ISO on your drive for you already. It's there. Okay. So here is you're going to click the folder to browse and then click add. And then go to your drive, your external hard drive, whether it's Element, SP or Max One, right? Click on that drive and you're gonna look for a folder called ISO Windows. So ISO files are install files, including boot, that's compressed into an image. Okay, so again, okay, I'm here. Once I click start, click the folder icon to browse, click add, and then go to your drive. And then you are going to look for ISO Windows folder, this one. Open that up and you should see Windows ISO. Click that and click open. And so once you have it, it'll tell you that it's 3.94 gigs. And then we're going to click choose. So no matter how you set up for the other side, the hardware side, right? This is the image that's going to put the OS on your system that you set up. So click choose and then click start. Now, the more core you have and the more RAM you have, the more virtual machine that you can run. So I'm installing one and I'm running the other, right? You can have a Linux one, a Windows one, a server one. You can have a whole network as long as your physical system, your host system can accommodate that, right? These are the guest virtual machines. So at this point, what you're doing is you already selected and you started your image, and now you're going to go through the installation, software installation side of the operating system. So we're here. Okay. So we're going to choose English, right? This looks like Windows 8 because most of them comes from the same. Now, Windows 11 is an upgrade from Windows 10. So it's going to, the reason why it recognizes because of your system time and your system zone. So it's going to go next and then install now. Windows fairly easy, right? Now, when you download from Microsoft website, you don't necessarily have an ISO. You have to use a software to convert file into ISO, which I did for you, okay? But you can simply watch a tutorial video. It takes like 5 minutes to do it. Here, I don't have a product key. This allows me to use the OS for 90 days. And then every day it's going to remind you to purchase their product because it's proprietary. So we don't want to use illegal license because that gets you fired. Okay. So, and if you want to work for NSA, don't illegal download and don't use pirate license. That's they know, they find out. Okay. They can look at your IP and they can find your traffic. So, all right, click I don't have product key. And then this is important. Do not choose the default because you're going to have less feature like encryption. Okay. So we're going to choose Windows 10 Pro, right? Because if you click next, you already choose home, and I'm going to make you do it again in the future when we need that certain feature. So Windows 10 Pro, right? And then there's another version called Enterprise, which is what they use here. Most of the time we use that license for larger, more licenses, cheaper. I'm gonna go ahead and click next. And then click accept for the license, right? And then go next. This is where you can configure your partitions, right? I'll talk a little bit about this more. I think if you take CIS27, they talk about partition. So partitions are like section. It's like in a house is your OS, okay? And in that house, you have many rooms, like a living room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and so on. What you can do is you can create different section of your operating system in your drive to store different things like data, my actual applications and my root drive. So this is where you can custom it, right? So we're going to click this right here. Now, for those of you who are familiar with this, see earlier, remember we gave it 50 gigs. That's the 50 gig drive that we have here, right? But let's say that I have 150 gig and I'm only using 50 gig for my C drive. You're going to have 100 gigs of space, which is called unallocated. That means that it's not given to anything. It's kind of like a house and you only made one room in it. You have all of this free space to put stuff, right? To put furniture, to put whatever you want, appliance, whatever you want. So the unallocated would be shown here, but since we have 50 gigs, we are going to use it all up, right? So by default, we're going to go next. But if you want to make a new partition, let's say you have space, you want to make a new room, you click new and you put in the size in megabyte. Okay, that's 1,000. Multiply this by 1,000. So if I want 150 gigs, right, it's 150,000 megabytes. Okay. So, okay, you want to learn more, right? Do the non-credit this summer with me for 3 weeks for all 3 sections, or take CIS25 in the fall. All right, we're going to proceed, go next, because we're not making any new rooms. We only have 1 room in that house. And we wait. So this is about 5-10 minutes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for it to finish. I originally had you register for an account, but I'm not going to make you do that. We're going to do an offline account. And then you are going to give it a password. And then accept the license agreement. One of the things that you can do, so we are going to use Cain today. And Cain is, yes, question? Okay, do you have a fatal error? Can you put me VirtualBox? Okay, right now, I don't know. Right, I wanted to go get a degree just because I want to have that opportunity for it. But one thing is not with it. So I'm just like, do I take it, do I not? The difference is if I go for a certain total, and if I go for my social, it's like, what's the thing? So for all that, I got a window, there's like in the so they're like, oh, I want to buy it and then no, but it's not your okay. So as we were saying that we need to turn off virus protection, right? Windows Defender, it won't allow that because Cain is a threat. So in this, we are going to use, and you need to turn off firewall. So I'll show you how you can do that. It's also using WinCap. This is a way that it can see traffic because it also acts as a sniffer. And I'll talk about that. And then you are going to download. So if you Google Cain, there's a bunch of websites that tell you that they have it and they don't, but I actually dug through, and this is the archive of Oxid IT. and they are the one that released Cain. So Cain and Abel been around for many, many years, right? You can use this to do a lot of different things. So, but there are other ways to brute force password. Okay, so let me see. This one is the one, right? After it's done, it's gonna restart. So now you know how to make Windows 10 VM, right? You just gotta get the ISO. It's on your external hard drive under ISO Windows folder. Right, so just when you get to that part, you just go, are you okay? Use the one that I brought. That one is dry. This. Because the other one is like, I gotta tell the janitor to replace it because I don't think they've replaced it since COVID, so.
Folder is empty. Grabbing those external.
Your ISO folder is empty?
Windows ISO.
You can bring your drive up. I'll copy it. It takes a second. All right. So once your Windows is boot up, mine is still getting ready. Checked earlier.
I had to change the genes because my other one was acting funny, my DM.
It's there.
It's there?
Yeah, right here. So when you go through and you click start, you click the browse button, and then you just browse to the element, and then go to ISO Windows, and it should see the .iso. It's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Sometimes you're in the wrong folder.
Right.
Uh-huh.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Any question? Are we okay with getting our Windows 10 up and running? Right? So if you start at the same time when you get here, right, it's gonna pick United States. We're gonna say yes. Okay. So it's gonna say the default location, that should be the US. Click yes, and then skip the keyboard. This is if you need a second keyboard layout. You know that UK keyboard is different than US keyboard, right? The symbols used are different. So we're gonna click skip in the case that if you want to add a secondary keyboard for other languages, you can. And then we can also use secondary virtual keyboard. So we're here, right? Step 20. And then we're gonna skip for now. We don't want to upgrade because we're using the trial version. If you give it more RAM, it's probably a little faster at this point, right? So right now what it's gonna do is gonna try to say, oh, you are gonna set up an account. We're gonna select personal use. We're gonna choose offline account. We can choose a limited experience because everything now they force you to use an email address, and I don't want you to have to authenticate via your email. In the past, I had the student do that, but I think this is better. So we are gonna do setup for personal use when you get here, right? And then you're gonna proceed, go next. So set up for personal use and click next. That was a change that I made. I highlighted in yellow. So when you get here, you're gonna do offline account. Okay. You don't put in the email because otherwise it authenticates to that email. And then on the left, you're gonna see limited experience on the bottom. So we're gonna choose that here. Okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put in CIS27 student. Yes, question?
Click the upgrade.
Yeah, you gotta wait a second.
Oh.
It's like a couple minutes when it gets there. Oh, you click upgrade?
No, I skipped the upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
I got three.
Yeah, it's gonna take a couple seconds.
Thank you.
Yeah, click next, and then you can give yourself a password. Make sure we remember. I really hate password. I get password fatigue. And then when you use like every website has a different password and you get confused and reset password. Just everything should be through biometrics. All right. For the security question, just pick one and type in the answer, something that you can remember. Right. So for example, I'm just going to say the name of the city. I'm just going to put Moreno Valley. Or you can put the city that, okay. And then the city where you were born, Moreno Valley. Not very secure, but you know, you get the point. So security questions not that secure, right? All right. Let's see. The school that you attended, Moreno Valley. So after 3 security questions and answer that you selected, you're just going to click yes to proceed, accept, and then accept. So this is all privacy that they're saying that they're going to use your browser and all of that good stuff for, you know, you can always turn off your privacy setting, right? Okay. So we did that, right? We proceeded, you know, you can choose no thanks, change all, decline all the assistant. Then you're going to log in and then we're going to change our virus protection. Okay. So I think I can be here now. So first, what we're gonna do after you log in is you're gonna search for Windows Defender or the virus protection. And this is used to block off threats. So we are gonna use an app that is gonna be, you know, classified as a threat because it's used to brute force password. So we want to turn that off. If you have McAfee, any kind of security software, we need to turn that off as well, right? If you wanted to test this on your computer, you can turn off your security. And then when you're done, turn it back on. Okay. So I want you to see how fast it is for it to crack a password. Okay, an easy password and then a complex password. You can go home, you can say, I crack a password today using Cain. All right. So once you logged in and booted, you are going to click for virus protection, search for virus protection, and then you're going to click it, right? So it's going to take you to the security setting right here. Okay. And what we want to do is we are going to turn it off. Okay. Manage settings. And then simply turn it off. Yes. Okay. So you just toggle the button to turn it off. And then also turn this off. If you see the cloud one, so turn everything off. Otherwise, it's going to take it off. Oh, you can look inside of the lab or them all on.
That one too. Yeah, and then that one. There's more like 4 hours. So that'll be it. And then, open,
Go next and then look at the steps. All right, so we talked about turning off Windows Defender and Cloud Protection. And then you can turn, you want to make sure we can turn everything off there, right? And then what you're gonna also do is you're gonna turn off the firewall. So firewall's designed to filter, right? It's able to block traffic that is threatening to the system or any kind of activities that could be threatening based on the rules that you set up, right? Yeah. At the beginning? Yeah, just the regular default selection, VDI. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here, whenever you see green, that's on, right? And so for the private network and so on, so you're gonna click advanced settings, or you can actually click here to turn Windows. So advanced settings. I'm sorry, I apologize. Should be the other one. Turn, yeah, click the turn Windows. So I click the middle one. Let's try again. Firewall, right? And then you're gonna click turn Windows Defender Firewall on off. Click here. And then make sure that you click turn off and turn off, which is the red X. And then click OK. Okay. So it tells you that both public and private are off. Okay. So make sure that we turn it off. And then that will be our settings. Private and public turn off. Okay, so we did that. We did 35. We did 36 and 37. Okay. Next, you are going to download WinCap. And what WinCap does is it is a way for your Windows system to capture its own traffic, to really look at what it's sending and what it's receiving. Okay. And then okay, so the way that I cheat to copy and paste the whole URL is I use Pastebin. I don't know if you ever used Pastebin before. It's a quick way for me to, you know, throw stuff on the cloud and then go there and grab it real quick. So I do a Pastebin, and then I paste the website in and I create a paste. And so I did that here, right? So basically I open up a Pastebin, I copy and paste my link, and then it gives you the URL at the top. And all you have to do is on your Windows virtual machine, just go to that URL and you will find the URL, right? So it's easier for me, or you can type it out, okay? So basically the next part is to visit this. and download it on your virtual machine. Do not use their PC, right? The host, the native system, you won't be able to do much with it. Okay, that's why we're using a VM. Okay, so what I did was I downloaded my WinCap, right? And I need to also download. So let's talk about WinCap first. Now, when you're using Wireshark or any kind of network sniffing or traffic sensing application, it's always gonna want, right, WinCap for Windows. So you need to download the version, at least the requirement, the version that it wants. So we're gonna do 4.1.3. We're gonna go next. Now, sometime it doesn't support that version. You're gonna have to roll back or roll forward. And then I agree. And then install. Okay. So how do I go about getting, you know, the URL? You can type in the URL as what is typed here, or you can create a paste bin and then go to your virtual machine and access the URL for the paste. You can do that, right? Now, the reason why your bi-directional stuff doesn't work when you create the virtual machine here is because the tools is not upgraded here. But you can modify your bi-directional thing for copy and paste, like your tally. I think there's an underscore, not space. So let me undo this.
I still can't get mine to start. It's still giving me this system called fatal. Because you didn't complete the setup. I highlighted it though. Yeah, I know you printed stuff before. You know you can print in here. We have a printer in here too. So, all right, desktop, and then they can be folders. So, you can be folders. Windows 10 and Windows. How's it going? Yeah, don't put it on the drive first. For some reason, sometimes those drives you just put your house system if there's a line. I don't know. I hope one of these.
Yeah, one I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah, just turn it on, log it in. Okay, and then here's where you map the ISO from the. And go app. And then cancel. ISO windows. Select the ISO file. Open. We went to 6 steps. So now, Only difference is that I did, I used it on my. If you look at that, I have question, we're okay?
Say I do it restaurant, it's entire.
Yeah, so for your wind cap, if you have others, you have to uninstall that one and then install because Cain is old, right? It only works with a certain version of wind cap. So when you install the older one over the new one, it won't let you. So you have to uninstall it. So you can go to setting apps and so on. That's why we're using a VM.
I'm gonna use the.
Yeah. Save and then, save first. You should always save before you run because in case if it fails, because if you run it directly from as it goes through, because it should temporarily save as well. Yeah, you have it. Okay, so we are going to. Let me highlight it a different color. All right, so we are good, right? We got the wind cap. And then I'm gonna go to my. So once you're on Oxid, Cain like this. Oh, sorry. Okay. You are gonna click this, download Windows NTXP, and then save, and then run. Okay. And then this is always gonna pop up, even though you turn it off, right? You're going to click more info, and then run anyway. And then even when you turn the firewall off, it's gonna ask you one more time. Are you sure? Yes.
What was Oxy?
Huh?
What was Oxy?
Yeah, so Oxid is 39.
Okay.
I know. Can you tell?
What?
It was illegal.
Yeah, so proceed to the install. You really can install. Go next, finish.
It's para el, I know it's para the GPU, but.
No. No, it makes it look like in June, though. I just need this like a red screen. Yeah, I just looked it all up and still Wednesday. I just have something like that. I don't know. Are you good to start? I spoke to about it back in November. I didn't do it because I had a daughter, and then
It's provided power supply. Yes,
already. But when I tried to transfer it over to the institute, I didn't do it. But I told it would have been a good time to join. So I would have gotten your. So you're telling me I can use money. And I could have got a job.
Porque hay dos.
So I was like, okay, yeah. So originally I think and then I thought I needed more than dog or something. I want to say
don't know why. What kind of problems to do with it?
Where you can try to, you could run wire cards, where you want to package that, or like capture or both. Everything, or you can actually try to tap into, like, to pretend you're a client or a server, and you try to get into another laptop or computer. But it's just so intimidating. I mean, I've never been before. Just have to get with that. And then I spoke to her again, and then we tried to see if I could and then I'm doing my best, like, that's enough, and then I was so. So, I'm wanting to kind of look at the portfolio, and then we're gonna go to my LinkedIn. I didn't want to add anyone, I just so embarrassed. Then I barely got access to my account, and then my and then now I'm trying to try to build this.
Yeah, I've been trying to do this.
Developers and everything. It looks so, I don't know, I don't know why I want to do. Then I said, come on, it was so cool. Like, there's only and then there's some part it's like you go in major big company, you're only going to be given the yeah, it's supposed to be a black website with gaining more skills, whatever, and why you not learning job, and then they don't want to teach you.
Which one did you go down? The first or second one?
Bottom. Yeah, the first one is in next day Windows NT XP 2000. And then save, and then no, but when you go on, you can actually use the user computer. So then you have to watch everyone go on every side. Like you know, back into like you go through it, and then you come back and blur, and you just see people that now think technology. I mean, I want someone to say, how do you do this? Well, like, conversation. There's the latest firewall.
All right, we're good. We need to install, yes. Yep. Default selection for the install. Next, right, next. And then it's gonna put this on the C drive of the virtual machine, go next. It's gonna put it on the system tools, go next. And it's gonna do its thing, takes a second, finish, and then install. We already did the install for WinCap, right? If you did that separately earlier, it says this version of Windows does not support the installation, will be aborted. So if you do it with it, it's gonna do this. That's what I'm telling you. That's why we download it separately in the previous step, because the version of Cain. So the problem is the version of Cain uses this version. The Windows 10 uses a newer version. So if you run this on your Windows, it's gonna want to put the newer version. So what you do is you install this first and then install Cain, right? Cain's gonna want to install this, but your Windows incompatible. It's gonna say that. So it's all right. We already got that in, so we're good, right? So what you're gonna do is you are going to use Cain next, okay? So the two piece that you need, or the one piece that you need for Cain, is you gotta get the WinCap for Cain, which is 4.1.3. Normally, we would install this with Cain. Like if you use an older version of Windows, you can, but the newer one you can't. You should do it separately, okay? So this allows it to see traffic coming in because it acts as a sniffer. Right, we're already on the virtual machine. We don't need to access it, right? But what I want you to do is you want to, if you're already on the virtual machine, you need to create a 2-user account. So you're gonna start at step 5 for the next part. The reason why we're doing this is we're gonna crack our own account inside the virtual machine. We're gonna make one with a really easy password that most people do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're gonna do a 3-character password. You're gonna see how fast that's gonna crack. And then we're gonna make a password that's a little bit more complex, longer. It's gonna take a little longer. So this should take seconds, okay? 5 characters should take about roughly a couple minutes or less, or sometime a minute, depending on the processor, okay? So a little bit about brute force attack, and I think I did some of this in the lecture. It is a tried and true. It is a way that it looks for a key that matches the stored encrypted password. Microsoft used encryption to store its password, and it uses a key with a hash for validity and integrity. So it is a way that it's going through and matching that key to the stored password until it gets it correct, right? And when we brute force, we basically try different characters, different numbers, so different things that it's gonna plug in. So it is basically gonna be resource and time heavy. So if you would brute force if you have a lot of time and resource on hand, okay? So here it talks about how it checks all possible keys to correct. So imagine if you have a ring of 50,000 keys and you're at that door, you're gonna keep trying one and the next one and the next one until you get it right to get it open. And once you open, you're gonna get the password. So the important thing that you need to keep in mind that in ciphering and encryption, the key is very crucial. It's the key length that matters, right? So you can have really good algorithm, but if your key length is short, likely that they might be able to crack it. So the cipher for the key length is a certain size. So it'll tell you 256 or it would be 1024. So the longer the key, the better, the more time that you're going to have basically. So what it tells you here that the worst case time proportional is 2n of the average time of half of that. So in brute force attack is less effective if your data is hidden and it is encoded. So the important thing that we need to know as a security professional is we want to buy time. We want to make it difficult for the attacker to recognize that they can crack the storage. So when you leave it out in the open, so let's say I have the key to your house, and if what I'm trying to find is in the middle of the floor when I walked in, of course I'm going to take it, right? So if you need to really think about where you store, and obfuscation is about where we place things that's hidden, right? It's kind of like we don't put it in the obvious things. So jewelry, we don't put it in the jewelry cabinet. We want to put it in a different area where they don't look, right? So that's the important thing is we have to find a way to be very obscure about where we store things. In the case that they crack it, they get it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is you are going to create the user account. So what you're gonna do is you are going to log in, and then you're going to click the Windows button and you're going to go to Computer Management Console. So I'm going to come here, right? I'm going to minimize this because I don't need it anymore. Once I have Cain, I have this. All right. So I'm going to right click and we're going to go to Computer Management Console. And if you select the Pro, you would have this. Even on the Home, you have this. But on the Pro, you are going to have the user account. My thing just pause. My computer just crashed, or maybe not. We'll see. Oh, no, it didn't. All right. Yes.
Oh, wait, this right here?
Yeah, so go more info on the left and then run anyway. Yeah. It's just, even if you turn it off, it's still there. So it's like, are you sure? Right. All right. So on the home version, you won't see some of the features in the computer management console. So for this one, because we're on the Pro, right, we see this. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go to the user. You can right click here, or you can right click here. You can make a new user account. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a user called test1. And you don't have to fill out all the field, but for the password, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3, right? And then we can disable this. And then we just click create. So what I did there was I created the test1 user, and then I would give it a very simple password, and then I would make the account. Okay. And then create. And then we're gonna do test2. And you can use the capital letter, that's up to you. And then our password is gonna be 2tests, all lowercase, and then confirm 2tests. And then create. And you can always go and change this account by right-clicking the account. You can reset the password, right? So an interview question for you would be, how do you reset password in Windows, right? You go to computer management console, you go to the local user account, you right click, you can set their password, not knowing their password, right? You can also disable the account, okay? Checking this, so when I fire someone, I choose disable here, right? I don't delete the account because if you delete the account, all the files goes with it, okay? You can recover the file, but that just takes more work. So when you fire people or when they leave the company, you go here and you disable. When you reset the account password, you go here and you reset. Now, if I want to change up the way that they log in, right, I can check or uncheck whatever option and then apply and okay. That's how you do it, okay? So computer management console in Windows is your best friend, okay? Make sure you know how to use this, okay? All right. So what I did was I created the accounts, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Cain. So you're going to double click Cain and you're going to click on Cracker button. Okay. So we're going to come here. We can minimize this. Double click that. Click yes to be sure. Right. And then Cracker has the key right here. You click that. So it's able to work with these. So if you learn Cisco already, you know that there's a bunch of Cisco stuff on here. And so there's database on here. So they added more to it. Okay. They also have a lot of different things, right? Like wireless, sniffer. There's a sniffer. There's also the wireless crack. But I prefer to use AirCrack NG. All right. We are going to click the cracker and we're going to choose LM NTLM. So Windows is based on NT file system, right? NTFS or new technology. And the traditional hash mechanism to store password is NTLM. Even on the Kerberos, which is for the later version like Windows 10 and Windows 11, and I lectured this with my CIS41A about Kerberos and also in this class, you would see that it's still relying on legacy technology, right? There is, even when they upgraded to new technology, old stuff is still there, and that's a flaw in the system. So what we do is we are going to click on LM and NTLM on the left pane, and you're gonna do an add list, okay? So right here, it's the first option. And you can always drag this so you can see. So I'm gonna do this right here, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the left pane and then I'm gonna click add to list button. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting it, right? And then click this button. The add to list is the plus sign, right? So once you click add to list button, then you are gonna use include password history hashes option, import and system. So it's really easy to crack within the computer itself that you're already on. Like, let's say I'm on as administrator and I wanted to see, like you go home and you want to see like which user have weak passwords that's using your computer, right? That's easy. But cracking on the outside is a little bit different, right? Cain, yes, you can do it on the outside. There are other better tools, right? That we use now that's actually a lot easier, that do web application and all of that. All right. So I'm here, and then you're gonna do include password history. Okay, select that. Okay. And then I'm going to click next. And it's gonna list a bunch of users that you have. Okay, boom, right? That's pretty easy. Then you're gonna select, right? It tells you to select, right click the test one account, and you're gonna brute force it. Okay. So this is good for testing on the system. And then if you find out the users are not creating strong password, you can teach them how to create strong password. So it's able to do multiple attacks. You can do a dictionary attack. Dictionary attack uses a dictionary word in many different languages. You can actually import in, dictionary words, Chinese dictionary words, Japanese, Russian, German, whatever it is. You can add in your dictionary and make it larger. So the more you give it, the more it's going to be able to find. Simple words like, people think that, if they use names, upper lowercase, no, that's really easy. And then also numbers only is really easy. So we're going to do a brute force, tried and true. So once you do this, you are going to select NTLM hashes. That's the first option that we choose, right? Brute force, and then NTLM hashes. And you can also, the challenges with the security challenge and all of that is a little harder. So it takes a little bit longer. Okay. So I have a lot of questions in my class about, I did this step and I'm not seeing anything, or it's not responding. It's not giving me anything. You have to know that the nature of this field is about waiting. It's about your end result might be nothing, right? So if you go and you run a lot of these tools, sometimes you hope that it's going to be able to give you some kind of output, right? So the more you use the tool, the more you're going to know that, yeah, it's going to give me about a decent amount of information. I'm going to use that tool. That tool is more effective than another tool, right? It's kind of like you driving different routes all the time, but there are some route that it's very dependable that you're going to get home without traffic, and you're going to use that, right? So what you're going to do is you are going to select the tools that usually work for you first, and then you can use other tools as you go along. So sometimes we can't crack anything with Cain, we would use something else, right? So once I have that selected, and then I click start, okay? So it tells me to, look, it found it, right? 1, 2, 3. So 3 seconds, actually microseconds. So it tells me here, this is the plain text and the hash for it. Attack stop, 1 hash found, right? No, they can check an employee's account if it's like weak or not. But there are better tools that we can do them as a domain, right? This is good that if you test the user to see if they are using strong password or not, right? On their account, right? You can use this on the network, but it's definitely not safe to be on the network this way. But yeah, this is one way. Cain is a very legacy application. It's been around for many, many years. I want to say older than most of you guys. All right. So as you go along, you can right click, right? And you can keep doing this to all the accounts. So let's try test 2. Let's brute force it, right? As you know that when you have more characters, it takes a little longer, right? Well, look, how fast is that? maybe a few seconds longer, right? So this is why they tell you to make longer password and more complex password, right? I think password is a vulnerability itself. So, you know, even multi-factor, I think now, like we're saying that a lot of the issues with multi-factor, there's no perfect schematic way to really think about, you know, how we would be able to improve this. But it tells me right here, right? Test 2 is 2 tests, right? That's really easy. And it tells me that it cracked 1 hash. And on the top, you know, sometimes it will tell you like how long it took and so on. Right. So answer the question, how many hashes were cracked? Did the program display the password in plain text? Definitely. Yes. Is the password accurate? Yes. That's really easy because it uses the history that's already stored. So when you stored a password, it creates a shadow password and then it stored it using a hash to have an integrity. So is it really secure? Password is definitely not secure. All right. All right. So is it matching the password you created? Definitely you did, right? Of course. It tells you that here. So now you can go home and mess with people. I'm just kidding. I didn't teach you how to do that. All right. So take a screen capture. You know, how long did it take? 2 seconds or even less than that, right? You know, so I did this years ago when I showed this to my students. It took like, you know, for the second. So as you extend the password, you can change up the password to make it more characters. You're going to see it's going to take longer. So 5-character password, 2 seconds, right? And I say this to people and they're like, what? No, right? Especially like older generation when they use really simple password. So you can show them this is why, right? You should use longer password, which is harder to remember sometimes. Right? Is the password matching? Sure. Okay. So one of the things that you can also use is a rainbow attack. Okay. And people talk about this all the time, right? But sometimes they don't really get into it, right? Like, what is a rainbow attack? So I use lab to kind of give you a little bit more exposure to a lot of the tech stuff, and then maybe you get a little hands-on. So rainbow table is a way that we would use a table to do reverse crypto analysis with hash function. It is a way to crack password with hashes. You saw how Cain is used, but it is so we would use a table to use a set of characters that allows you to crack the key or the hash key to your password, right? So it is built into Cain, and it is gonna be definitely a lot quicker where it is less storage, but it requires more processing. It compute the hash values where it's gonna use more storage. So you're gonna wait, right? Like the people who get into development, we talked about space and time. So if you give it more space, you're gonna have less time. If you're gonna want to reduce, or if you want to increase time, then you can have less space. That's just the way it is, give or take. So what that means is that it is a lookup table. So think of it like a reference table. It is a way that it can find things quicker if it references it for the entry per hash. Okay, so it's going to build out the table, and the key derivation function is going to employ a salt and the attack is feasible. I think I talked about salt in my lecture. Salt is a way that we can stuff. You know, we can add in values or characters in different parts of the password to make it look like something else. But, you know, so let's think about like when you modify some of it, it might look like it's a really simple password, but it's not, right? So rainbow are a refinement of a simple form, and this is what it's done by Martin Hellman. So we are going to go into C programs, and then we're going to look for WinRTGen to run the application. Okay, So in here, I can close this. So I'm gonna go open up the folder, this PC, go C drives, right? 32-bit, x86, and then what did I say? Cain, right? Go to Cain, and then here. All right, and the application, it tells you application right here. So click yes. And then you are going to add a table, click the hash drop-down menu and select add table. And then change the maximum to 12 characters and click OK. Add table. Go here. So you can choose different type, right? Earlier you saw that there's, I tell my classes when they, in this class, you're going to hear about MD5 hash, or my other classes in 41A. MD5 is definitely not very vulnerable, right? And then even SHA on some end. So there's, with encryption algorithm, a lot of the times all it needs is just time. Okay. So you're going to select add table, then we're going to click 12 characters. For, is it max length? So here we're gonna do 12. So you can go from 1 to 12, right? Now they tell you to make your password longer, maybe 14 characters or 12 or more. Any question? Yeah, so click hash and then I think it says add table. Click hash drop down menu, add table. Yeah, we can do NTLM or LM. And then you can, you can also modify some of this too. So you can also set your benchmark and then click OK. Right? And then add. You can keep change. So we can add as many tables. So the more reference table you have, the faster it's going to be, but it's going to take more space, right? So let's think about if we have like 5 tables of, that allows it to really reference for the 12 characters password. It's going to be definitely a lot easier for it to go through and reference it. So what they do is they actually have tables that are already created, and you can also download files. They shared this on the dark web, right? Dictionaries and things like that. There's tons. And so you can add those or you can manually create it. So this is application driven, right? It's not external. So sometimes they create it for, and this is like RT files. So it's not that big of a deal to make it. There are a ton of people that customize it. Okay. And then you just click OK and it's going to process it and it gives you the percentage, right? So sometimes these type of investigation, it's like you turn this on, you go get coffee, and then you come back. And then it's still going. Okay. Definitely Latin forensic. You have dinner, watch a movie, and then come back. All right. So once you have the information output, right? If it's going for a while, just let it go because we still have a lot of time. Take a screen capture. You can snip or alt print screen or print screen and then paste it into the lab document. It should give you some kind of success probability, right? A range. My number might be a little off. Oh yeah, it is fine. Okay.
Oh, no, maybe it's without a birthday. Right? Oh, wait, hold on. Never mind.
That's fine. You can use LM and TLM. It doesn't matter which. I chose the NTLM. You know. All right. So for the next part, we're gonna use the network portion of it, right? So what this does is we are gonna find the IP address. So it's gonna give you the system IP. You are going to add the loop back address is calling itself. So this is how it sees itself as a system. Then take a screenshot, then you know, so basically I'm making you clicking on different things to kind of see the feature for Cain. Cain is a simple application, but it can do a lot of different things. And then when you're done, you can turn the firewall back on, right? And then the Windows Defender, the antivirus, virus protection, turn it back on. And that's it. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about, you know, about Windows configuration down the line.
Oh,
Are you coming along? Almost done?
I need another storage for sticky unit. Time for the motherboard. Everyone's. No, yeah. They're at the 10 pin. About to get together to sort them out. Here's a touch file. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it says.
You know why? That's why I just. Well, this one is on the floor. Wait, so I could, when I read this one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're open. That's what came here.
No, I'm waiting. I don't want to mix it up. I mean, I want to. I'm just. This is my baby. But I'm not there for like. I mean, I don't know my dad's like.
As long as it's just there.
Well, no, yeah, login in the regular, the one with the
I know I'm, my original. Oh, you know what?
What about CIS27? No. No, that's not one down. Okay, now the one that you got. Is that the one that you have? That's the one that you have? Yeah, okay. Here's the step. Thank you. Yeah, so go to this PC. Oh, yeah. And then go down on the left. Right, this. I'm sorry, Any questions? We're good. Enforcing some accounts.
I have a question.
Oh, wait, no,
Yeah, because you're on the.
oh, no, I thought I told you. Oh, I did go to three of them.
It's just a big one. Yeah. All right, so right away. That happens too, I think, it's Windows Defender will do it. So that's why like when you download it, you save it. See how it leads to shortcut? And your one, the one.
One 36. 36 is what? Why is that? You guys can find the candy.
There's nothing there, like, and I don't know. It's right there. I know, we tried. We're all stuck in the same. And that's the rainbow. I'm just up there, but I want to get out of it. I think it's time to switch. It's just, I don't feel that much appreciation for everything. I'm like, okay, I'll just go help in the cyber world. I just do the same thing, except it's just not medical.
Are we good? We're good? Everybody got results or no? On the rainbow attack, no? Mine's 4% on the end. You can stop it, I guess. Okay. So this might go forever, so take a screenshot and then stop it. Or if you can start it and then screenshot, it will be like seconds. So what? 10 minutes in and it's only 4%. So, you know, like I said, go grab dinner, maybe watch a movie, come back, it's still running, right? So it's about time. When you are done, you can turn your firewall back on and your Windows Defender back on, everything back on. Let me find out. No, you can proceed to the next part. Yeah. Sure. Sometime, I think mine was at like 4%. Yeah, you can do the scanner part. It's gonna give you the IP address and then you can add it, take a screenshot, do the wireless adapter one. I didn't have you do much here because I know that like probably running out of time, but you know, so proceed to the next step for the wireless side. Sorry, I'm on. Yeah, sometime it deletes your shortcut. That's a security thing on the Windows side. So if it goes away, you can always find the program file. Just able. That's the rainbow. Vacation extension. Okay, let's take attendance. I know some of you are almost done. So go through the next two part, look at your IP address information. You can use it to sniff. And then take a screen capture of your quick list. Then you are going to click on add. And we talked a little bit about ARP and ARP-A before, where it uses with MAC and IP for ARP use for address resolution protocol tests. What's up?
Yeah, so the units is wireless gathering and wireless technology.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so because your Alienware has one, and then the primary option is just the default. Yeah, so. Yeah, click on your wireless adapter.
So, okay, so the for,
Yeah, so if it deleted it, the CA setup is the Cain, rerun it. Yeah, but it went to the actual server. So, yeah, you do. Oh, I'm sorry. And then, and then,
so we don't really do anything on it.
It sounds like you said, like there's no second up there.
well, yeah, when you click OK, it's what it is.
Now, say if you want to put it. Yeah, look.
So it's gonna give you the percentage, so this is what it's like, and this is the maximum amount. Yeah, using the table here, but the more table you add to this, right, the more space, the more cost. Now we use that's right, and all of this is but there are tables that you can get solid on, and then you can add it to your. And then like it's all art, so and this will allow you to roll. So I'm gonna just paste that. Question? Oh, yeah, so I know, I'm excited. Just click that and then select it. Yeah. I was like, oh, it must be like a slide, not but it's, yeah, and then click OK, and then, yeah, it's like HTR, right? Well, on the A, no, AR, for my best A, line.
It's almost a pop up and pick up the.
Lines,
No, I'm like, hey, tell me. Then it's gonna take a while. And then you just cut down the percentage at some point, because you're not going to keep on that. Yeah, so, yeah, go to your.
console.
Why?
Yeah, so my parents. No, it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3. So she says 1, 2. Yeah, so the longer it is, the longer. Stop it.
So slow. Sometimes you have to start from the beginning when you do the, you know, you go to the. Let's start it. I'll stop it. Oh, you did? Stop it.
One less person.
Right here. And sometimes it takes a couple of seconds. Sometimes when you use the password, when you open it's like. Creates
Right.
what you're trying to do is. Yeah, because now it seems as a second possible.
That's why I don't like to do that. Okay.
Yeah, so because you, when you change the password, the key that you were trying to, it's trying to use is no longer there. So it's cracking this thing that doesn't exist. Yeah, because when it creates a password, it stores it in like a key, using a key. And then when it opens, it's gonna make sure it's meant. So what happens is it's trying to find something that's no longer. So when you, yeah, when you reset, you have to kind of log in.
That's the second part. That's what I said. If it comes up, I'm blank. Oh, yeah, I don't think that all. And I just dragged it because it was in file. Oh my gosh, there's nothing in here. I was wondering why this looks like it's actually loading something that might be doing.
My folder is like.
Well, I just grabbed it and folded it. There's nothing. Oh, on the right.
Okay, I think, hold on. It's still there, no?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm calling it. Remember going to this one to my desktop, to the left, I'm going to the left. The right. Is that? No.
I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no, that's right. Oh, it's not. Yeah. What? Just, well, look right here. Oh, I think it's set, like, what you. Well, it's on the left. Oh, yeah, but they were all, okay, yeah, that's what I said, so.
Hello, Thomas. Well, what do you like? Perhaps. Yeah. I'm going back into it, I don't know how to mess up. Because, I wonder why.
I really could.
So. All the stores,
This is what I did today. And then it sounded like that. Really was this dog that last day and like before the day. There was, yes. That's okay. Here. This was settings. And then system.
Yeah. Well, it's not able to. Right, so yeah, you, I think you went.
Show me what. So I'm thought already. That's what I was, I don't know what to buy. Right now, I have this. Web, email, data, my first one. Sometimes check it there. But let's say, working. That's what. But, you know, it's a kind of original, I think, yeah, it's my good one. It's hiding that. Nobody did this one. I couldn't figure out, I think it was not this one on it.
Awesome. And if you guys, if someone is kind of happy to do that. Now.
So this one I can easily put my, private
It's stronger
access
now, right?
in without bothering the card, even if all my.
Yes. Yes, so give me a second, let me clarify that, and then we'll do like seconds.
So we have a lot of questions about this part, for Cain.
That's ADG, that's one, all in one.
Okay, so when you do your wireless, right, you go here and then you select. So here it's only gonna give you the default one, right? Whatever that, and then it says it couldn't obtain the wireless client handle, so it's not able to see your adapter. And when it cannot see your adapter, it's not gonna work, right? So what I need to do is I probably have to go and configure it some more and be able to find. So if you look at the configure options, you notice that it's not seeing itself. So when that's the case, and if you give it an IP address in the subnet and be able to start sniffs at startup, or you can change it. So this is a way that you can change your adapter, right? And then be able to do that. So I don't get an IP address, so that means that my adapter is not fully functional. What I can do is I can add, right, install the driver and making sure that it sees, and most likely that's what happened. So the virtual machine itself does not see the host machine has two adapter. It's only seeing it as an Ethernet adapter, you see? So when you clicking this option, you're not seeing a wireless option, even though you know that your Alienware has wireless, okay? So what happens is you have to add the adapter so the virtual machine actually physically sees it. Because at this point, it's only able to see the Ethernet option. So no point to use that. So what I did was I have you go to the sniffer, right? And we can't sniff out anything because we have to set up a network connection first to do that. Okay. So what we're doing here is you creating a list of IP address, potentially that could be your target or not, right? But what happened is when you add an IP and you can have a quick list of IP. So let's say that if I have 100 systems that I'm trying to, you guys, that I'm trying to attack or I'm trying to test, I can use this list. But again, we cannot use the wireless component because it doesn't see the wireless adapter. Okay. And then for the network side, for the sniffer side, once I connect to those IP addresses, it's going to appear here. It's going to sniff out. But in my opinion, sniffer on Cain is actually not that great. You should use Wireshark or other options. Okay. So if you are connected, yeah. So the challenge is this, right? The challenge is that your adapter is not fully functional on the wireless side. You are not fully really connected to anything because look at this, right? It says that I'm connected, but am I seeing you, or, you know, is it really seeing myself? So I have to really check my network connection on the physical itself before I actually connect out to other systems, right? Ideally, it should be able to see the loopback address, the 127. So we should check the settings. Now, the features are here. I want to show you that the features are here. Is it the greatest tools for these? No, not necessarily. It is an all-in-one tool, but in my opinion, Cain is only good for the areas that we used it, right? Which is Rainbow and cryptanalysis for full password. Okay, so take a screenshot at the ARP, even though it's blank. When I tested this, I did it on my laptop and it did it great, right? So we need to configure the wireless if you have wireless, and it should be all fine. So you should be able to do the multi-group. Okay. So that's fine. And then turn your firewall back on, turn your your virus and threat protection back on, and then we'll call it a night. Let me stop recording.